Welcome back. Time now to check out what your Sunday morning papers are carrying for you. My guests this morning are eNCA producer Gcina Mvana and business news correspondent Ntokozo Khumalo. Thank you, ladies, for joining us. But before we get into our conversation, let's see what the Sunday Times is leading with. Treasury mounts Zuma fight back. Ministers' officials line up at Zondo state capture inquiry, which we saw happen this week. Also leading with colleagues ready to turn on mayor. So according to the Sunday Times, Tshwane Mayor Solim Simanga is fighting for his political life amid murmurs that black members of the DA in the city could vote with the opposition to oust him. He is facing that motion of no confidence on Thursday this week. Should be interesting to see how that plays out. When your dog has had its day, you get the day off. Okay. Yes, I guess if you have a pet. The City Press leading with Gupta cases in crisis. Estina and the alleged 600 million rand bribe are said to be compromised, with investigations so protracted that the presidency may have to be roped in to help. Also leading with how black and white can make it work. The Sunday Independent leading with mosque attack, fall guy, blame pinned on innocent man, says a relative. Also leading with your favorite Sunday paper is getting a facelift. From next Sunday, the paper will be bringing an updated, modernized newspaper that they hope will people will come to embrace and love. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what the new week offers. Thank you very much, ladies. Again, this reintroduces you into the conversation. What we are not leading with, but the big story on the continent today is the inauguration of Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa. A long road to get to where he is, but here he is now. It's a new day. Will we see a new dawn? Ntokozo?
That's the big question. I think, as Zimbabweans right now, it does feel like a new dawn because it's a change. But obviously the narrative has been there that it's literally just the driver that's changed and not the actual destination.
Right.
So I suppose we'll have to wait and see. We always give them 100 days to prove the change that's going to come and what policies they introduce. So at the moment, let's be excited and celebrate with Zimbabweans and wait and see what happens.
Of course. Let's so Gcina, you just wanted to add
thanks
on the inauguration. Sure.
It's been a fight for President Emmerson. I mean, if you remember how he first came into power, it was through a coup. And then now he gets victory from these elections, and then he gets taken to court. And the court has to declare that he is actually the rightful president of Zimbabwe. And it doesn't end there, because the war continues, because the opposition leader, Nelson Chamisa, is taking him to another court. It's the African Human Rights Court, something like that. But it's the same difference. So in a way, his victory has been followed by a whole lot of fighting. And I think his term, it should be interesting to also see what his term is going to be like. Like Ntokozo said, that only time will tell. We can only be happy for the people of Zimbabwe. Some are obviously happy, some are obviously very unhappy.
Be that as it may, though, we have not seen this before in Zimbabwe, where something like this plays itself out in public, where you can go to court and we see those proceedings and the president is just chilled and saying, let it play out.
Let it happen.
We've got nothing to hide. So I guess in a way, there was no violence, which could be a good sign.
It's an amazing sign compared to what we saw.
100%. Let's come back home and talk about the state capture inquiry. A lot of people glued to their TVs. And I know you were one of them, following developments feverishly there.
Wow, the state capture. I mean, we've been looking forward to this Zondo inquiry into state capture for the longest time now, since President Ramaphosa instated that it would actually take place. This last week, we had former Finance Minister Jonas, who revealed some very damning things, a lot of bombs, and a lot of implications regarding the Hawks as well. And because you think that when something is wrong, you will go to the Hawks. But when you find out that institutions, some individuals from such an institute would come and say, no, this case is invalid, what happens then? So we're about to have an inquiry as well on some members from the Hawks who will be investigated on this whole thing of trying to brush the whole state capture thing off.
But it just shows you how deep the rot is.
Right, you've always known, but to get the level of detail.
We've always known and we always had an idea. And for me, the thing is, I think South Africans are also getting exhausted of inquiry after inquiry that goes nowhere. You know, with the Gupta cases, all of them are in crisis. And, you know, have to deal with the Hawks, have to find where the rot there is, having to actually get the Guptas back into the country and keep them in the country to actually answer to this. So it seems like we're in for yet another long wait where we'll be glued to our screens, but will anything actually come out of it?
That's the thing about these inquiries. That's the thing about these inquiries, because you'll have these, and these inquiries take up millions of taxpayers' monies, millions of money that could be used for other things, other necessities in the country, but millions go into, but who is held accountable at the end of the day? That's what we want to know, because yes, something will come out, boom, and then what's next? What's going to happen?
Ntokozo, let's talk about Umamu Zondeni Sobukwe's funeral yesterday. Unfortunate incidents of people.
Humiliating.
Yeah. What went through your mind when you were watching that?
You can only cringe. You know, you can only cringe because I feel like we're currently dealing with a leadership crisis, and the least we could do is send off the people who were our leaders in a dignified manner. So you don't even know what to say. You know, I was actually watching with my daughter, and she's asking me questions that
you can't answer.
What is happening here? You know, she go out to play, comes back, what's going on? And you can only really cringe and be like, everything becomes a political play, everything becomes, you know, so many different issues.
It's like everyone wants to be seen. And sometimes we are unable to even discern the platforms that we use to be seen or to fight our battles. I mean, it's a funeral of an elderly, a woman of such stature, such as Mam Sobukwe. Just her elderness on itself
should be enough.
Should give it that dignity to that funeral.
Pause,
but it was humiliating, to say the least. I've never seen anything like that, and hopefully we never get a repeat.
Right, and it's sad that overshadows the conversation in terms of the kind of woman that we're talking about here, right? And her role to the struggle. She's one to definitely be revered, to be remembered, to be written down in the history books, and to be admired for really a long time to come, for generations to come. Let's talk about Adam Katsavelos's apology. Ntokozo, as a black South African. What went through your mind when you read
the apology to his family and friends?
Right.
You know, and I don't know, it's amazing that you can take a video and then not see anything wrong while you're taking that video, but when you've watched it, then you realize how much damage it's caused. That's crazy. That apology wasn't to the rest of us. The apology was definitely to his family. The apology was to maybe his business partners, just to be like, okay, let's find a way to clear this. And one of the questions people were asking was, what exactly is he going to lose from doing something like this? Because they might remove him from the business, but if it's a family business, what is he really losing? Right. So for me, it meant nothing. But I think, you know, guys like Brown Sense and so on put out a really good point that at some point we also have to, you know, you can't change how someone acts. You can change how you react.
100%.
If you know that you're always frequenting businesses that he owns or that he's partners in, maybe support a black business instead. Take your money elsewhere. Let that be what talks for us, because I think a lot of the times we get very emotional and we're the only ones emotional about this thing and we're not being heard. So I think it's up to us now to try and change that narrative.
It's the finances, it's the money.
Exactly.
Let's talk about social cohesion as well. This Rainbow Nation project, a lot of people could say, hey, it's worked, but there's another school of thought that says, actually, it hasn't worked, because it's not just about Adam. There's a lot of people who hold the sentiments and views
around
that
the
he
braai,
does.
on the dinner table.
How do we negotiate that? Where do we even begin?
It starts at home.
In democratic South Africa.
It starts at home. What do you tell your children? Your behavior towards other people, because your child is going to emulate exactly what's happening at home. I'm not saying that Adam's family taught him to think the way he did.
But
to
in
the
general,
point, but in general, because you don't just dump sack something like that out of your finger. You taught. It's either you watch people's behavior around you, you taught, the thing sinks into your head, and that's how you see that, oh, a particular race should be treated in a particular manner, a particular should be treated. So I'm still saying that it begins at home, but you can't force people, you know, to do, I'm sorry to say this, but I always say that South Africa, we are what we are. We are a multilingual diverse country. You can't do anything about that. If you don't like it, then you can leave. You know, peacefully. You know, when at the dawn of democracy, a lot of white people left the country because they were scared that whatever was going to happen. I respect them because you left. You felt, no, I can't integrate with these people. I can't share spaces with these people. You left. So if people don't like it, you leave. It's that simple.
Because the problem is
because we like this. We like this. Yeah.
And the problem is it makes it harder for us who are trying, for us who are trying to have that social cohesion, because now it's like, well, how am I going to defend my white friend if he's not speaking up on an issue like this and say, oh, not everyone thinks this way. You know, it makes the conversation a little harder. And these issues are actually coming out globally. Yeah. You know, everywhere in the US, where you're seeing people, it's about me, and I don't really see you as the other person.
Right. Let's talk about another issue that is plaguing the country. Rosetta Msimango did a beautiful piece. I just want to see if we can zoom in to that. Beautiful but tragic. And when we talk about women abuse and when you see the extent to which, so these are all victims of a crime that has been committed against them by their most intimate partners, women who are being attacked with acid, women who are being burned alive. There's a story of Utembi Mapanga here from Middleburg who is a petrol attack survivor, but her little girl didn't make it. When we talk about the issues of abuse and when you read these ladies' stories, some of them, the common thread is, I went back because I thought, you know, he would change. When do you know to leave? It may be obvious to the next person, but it's not always obvious when you're in a situation where you find yourself that these are sticky situations.
I think that's the thing. You are so blinded when you're in there. It's almost like when the house is burning and someone from the outside is seeing the smoke, but when
you're inside trying to save something.
You're inside exactly. I like the way you've just described. You're inside trying to save something that's probably dead, and it's going to leave you dead. Anyways, so honestly,
because aren't we taught that as women? Like, you know, you're supposed to support.
Exactly.
A woman
you're supposed to speak it out.
Men, banjalo nje amadoda, banjalo. You know that thing, you banjalo nje amadoda. I think it's sunk in so much. They get away with it because banjalo, vele. That's how some of us find ourselves landing in those tragic situations, and it's so sad, and you just don't know when
and
it
for
ends.
me, I think the sad thing is it's gotten to a point where it's really created so much gender division. You know, women have had so much where they're like, you know what, actually, your voice doesn't even matter to me anymore as a man, because you've done nothing when you've seen me get raped. You've done nothing when you see, you know, someone calling
or when
me
your
slurs.
friends talk out of pocket.
Exactly, when your friends talk out of pocket, you do nothing. So actually, we're not interested in hearing your voice. And that's a sad thing, because you have to think about, fine, forget the men that are existing now or the men that are grown now. What about our boy children that are coming up? What then are we teaching them? And what does that mean for our future girls that are also going to grow up with these boys?
Speaking of our boys,
so it's just, you know, they're being left behind as well. And it's just creating kind of this trickle effects that's just not stopping.
bad, unhealthy cycle. Another issue that is on the table in the country, of course, is the land issue. We saw Donald Trump weigh in during the week. That caused a stir, naturally. But the City Press, so it's the Sunday Times, is actually carrying a story about how the agriculture industry has not transformed.
It has not. It has not. I'm actually doing some consulting work for guys in the space that are trying to see how we can actually work together. The problem is the way the agricultural sector is being sold is you have to have been in farming for generations and generations and generations. But still, there's very few black people that don't have a background of some sort of agriculture. My grandparents were farming, you know, back then. So why can't it be a thing of open up that industry to show people that it's also beyond farming. Agriculture is beyond just the farming. And there are existing commercial farmers that are so open to that discussion, but it's being tarnished by all the sensationalism, all the, you know, division that's been created, that the right conversations are not happening. You know, Agri-PE, if we're going to chase up this land issue, let's look at a policy government already has that's in shambles, that has these codes that need to be met, that are not being met. Let's also look there and let that be a starting point to be like, how can we actually fix this? We already have a policy. How do we then take this forward to work hand in hand and ensure that everyone is on the same page and understand what's actually going on? And there are several programs that are out there. You know, government is trying to move away from the grant system of fine, just be black, come, we'll give you money. They are trying to move away from that to ensure that people actually see the business value. And I think that's the lesson that we need, the business value of agriculture.
100%. Gcina, on a lighter note, if you like, when your dog has had its day, you get the day off. So some say a dog is a man's best friend, but cats, lizards, pigs, etc. also hold a special place in someone's heart. That is why the University of KwaZulu-Natal has introduced a pet bereavement policy.
Wow.
Are you going to be getting a little baba and something happened? Sorry, I can't make it. My dog is.
You know what? I can't really make a joke of this loving your pet and if your pet dies because I've been there and it's before I didn't understand it. Like I'd laugh if a pet's like, oh, my little puppy, or my fish is died. I didn't understand it until you have your own pets and then you understand it. But a bereavement, I don't know, I think it depends on people's personalities, like it really does. But like, what's the minimum? How many days are you allowed?
Baby,
it's just leave over the weekend.
How many days, like, are we really?
We're going to have to leave it here, but thank you very much for coming through to talk to us, Ntokozo Khumalo, and that's a look at your morning papers. And that's it from the Morning News Today Weekend Edition team. Your weather is coming up next. Have a fantastic week further. Bye-bye. Thank you, my darling.